right, so now, Rob, let's talk a little bit about where Auburn fits, because again, as I said, nobody thought Auburn was going to be in the discussion right now. It
Right.
is one of the, Bruce says, 20 teams. I don't think it's that many that can win the national title, but it is bananas to me that now some people are saying, like, all right, if I'm picking a team to win this whole thing, they got a high lottery pick, not just a lottery pick in Jabari Smith. They've got a really, really good big in Walker Kessler. They got Katie Johnson, who's tough, making shots, guards. They have a really good offense and defense. You don't see too many teams right now that can do it on both ends like Auburn has been able to do it so far.
No, they're what? They're top 20 in KenPom defensive and offensive efficiency. Yeah, I would think, if you look at the top teams, can Baylor win? Absolutely. Can Gonzaga win? Absolutely. Houston, no Sasser, no Tremont Mark. They've honestly not missed a beat, but to win it, probably not without those guys. Villanova, to win, I think they get to the Final Four. They don't have the bigs, I don't think, to hang with these teams. So I would say no for Nova.
Yep.
They can get to the Final Four. I don't think they can win it. Purdue, yes. Defensive issues need to be figured out.
Yeah.
Auburn, yes. I mean, LSU has played really well at 15-1. Can they win it?
No way. No way. No way.
Kentucky, Kansas. I think Arizona, could. I think UCLA could too.
Duke. You haven't mentioned
win.
Duke.
You start looking at like Tennessee, Illinois.
Illinois is
Illinois could.
One.
I think Illinois could.
Cabela.
See, I don't know about that. I really don't know if – I think there's a legit argument to be made, and I like Curbelo.
Yeah.
But, boy, they found something with 4-round-1, 4 shooters around Kofi. And you put Curbelo back. I know he's a good playmaker. I think they're the best team in the Big Ten right now.
What about Curbelo coming off the bench, Rob?
Would he accept the role?
20 minutes a game.
I mean, the question would be, would he accept that role? I don't know.
I think he will at first, coming back from his concussion. I don't think it'll be hard early, because if you're Brad Underwood, you're going to slowly ramp him up. You're not going to put him back, coming back from a concussion where he's played in 2 months and playing 32, 35 minutes a game. We know that. The question is, after a month, if he comes back, which I think he's going to in the next week or two, you're talking.
Didn't he have a setback? I thought that they had said he was making progress, and then he had some sort of setback to, I don't know if it was back to square one type thing, but I thought
I hadn't heard in the last week if he had a setback that's way back. I got to call Brad and kind of find out what's going on there. But Illinois is that kind of like team that people aren't really talking about in the national title conversation.
They're severely underranked at 25. Severely.
Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely. So they're kind of the wild card. We got 9 so far: Baylor, Gonzaga, Duke, UCLA, Purdue, Auburn, Kentucky, Kansas, Arizona. That's 9 by my count. Anybody else that you put in there that we have, like Villanova next tier, you're saying? I would say Villanova still, I'd put them in that group because of their culture.
To win?
Yes.
They play like 7 dudes.
Like
6 dudes. Yeah.
I mean, they're starting to play.
The big teams, I love those dudes. The Jermaine Samuels, they're tough as shit. Yeah. But I don't think when you're going up against a Purdue, like we saw at Mohegan, you're going up against teams with size, Gonzaga. Boy, you're asking an awful lot of a 6'7", 225 dude to guard 7-footers. You really are.
I mean, they're trying to play. Jay Wright's trying to make it to 8 and get Longino, their freshman big, and Brian Antoine. Antoine played about 14, 15 minutes last night. Longino only played a few.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to try here. And if he can get Longino to play 8 or 10, that takes and Dixon was good, really good in the first half against Xavier. And Xavier has, as you know, 2 pretty good bigs in Nunji and Fremantle. So, all right. So we differ on Villanova. I'll read you a few more. Just let's make sure. And I think they're all second tier teams that you'll put in the Villanova bucket.
Okay.
And it's like all the Big Ten. So you can go Wisconsin.
Yeah, second tier.
Michigan State,
second tier.
Ohio State.
Their guards are improving. I would put them ahead of,
right.
I would put them ahead of the other two Big Ten teams. But
they have a higher ceiling.
Yeah.
They have a higher ceiling because
he comes back and plays to his ability. I think their guards are improving too. Malachi Branham has had just a monster 2 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd put them above those other two. And Wisconsin's got as good of a resume as anybody. But I just think they depend on Johnny Davis like
too much.
So much, and Brad Davison, but past that, like it's kind of at times who's going to score. But they've got a terrific resume. But yeah, I would say Ohio State second tier, but above the other two second tiers.
Texas Tech. Do you want to put them in that?
I don't think they can win at all. I think Mark Adams is doing a phenomenal job. I mean,
can we talk about that for a minute? Mark Adams. So he gets hired. And I didn't even think he'd be in the equation. When Chris Beard left for Texas, I was like, all right, Adams going to go with him. He's a 65-year-old. He's been a defensive coordinator for Beard. He's been incredible. And then Kirby Hocutt, the players really wanted Adams. And Kirby Hocutt tabs him as the successor. And I'm like, I don't love it. I just don't love it. Again, he's a career either JUCO head coach or assistant, D1 assistant. And the reason I didn't love it wasn't because he can't coach. I think he's a hell of a coach. Again, was really the guy who directed the best defense in the country the last few years in Lubbock, by the way. Helped Chris Beard get to the championship game in the Elite Eight in Lubbock. I was worried about recruiting. And he brings in a staff that really hadn't recruited at the highest level also. But here's what I'll say is the guy can coach, number one, and recruiting probably isn't as important as it used to be in terms of.
No, because the portal changes the deal.
Yes.
I mean, you think about how many, Santos Silva, I know that was a Beard transfer, but Kevin O'Banner, they've got guys that have transferred in and they play roles. I just think it's incredible they were able to win the games they did with no Terrence Shannon and no Kevin McCullough. I mean,
McCullough, he didn't play a week ago, and then he played the other night, but he was hobbling around.
Right.
It's almost like he shouldn't have played, but he gutted it out. They're so tough.
They are.
Talk about a culture.
Boy,
they built a culture of toughness there.
Yep. No, I know. They are. They would not be fun to play against. You'd look at that game on the schedule and be like, oh, shit. Like, here we go. About to get the hell beat out of me for 40 minutes by somebody out there. I mean, they're physical. They defend you. They play intelligent team defense. They're really good defensive. But I would say they're in that below tier. I'm going to throw a team out at you that I saw last year in the NCAA tournament and was shocked at how talented they were. They did just lose a game that they should not have lost. But I think USC is uber talented. I really do. And they
were uber talented.
What's that?
They were uber talented when you saw them because they had the probably rookie of the year.
I know, but still, they've got some dudes out there that can really play. Yep. Like Isaiah's a good player. You add Boogie Ellis. I like Chavez Goodwin. I mean, I know the loss to Stanford is not
but
overwhelming endorsement. But
well, they hadn't played anybody big.
That would be the thing. It'd be a wait and see type thing. But I just thought last year I was shocked, not just at how good Evan Mobley was, but at how good the guys around him were.
Right. Anybody else we've forgotten? I mean, we haven't mentioned Iowa State, but I'm not even sure they're a second tier come March.
Right.
Like I think they're a third tier come March, and Providence. I'm just looking at the teams I've ranked: Providence, UConn, Loyola Chicago, Colorado State. Xavier is the sneaky one for me, Rob, because I actually think Xavier has the toughness. They've got the experience. They've got good guard play. They've got shooters, and they've got two really good bigs. Fremantle still doesn't look like himself, but Nunji's been awesome.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. I mean, I know they haven't done anything as a program the last 3 years, I wouldn't want to play Xavier in the NCAA tournament this year. They're the wild card for me. Everybody's talking about all these other teams. And to me, I got Xavier ranked way higher than I had him 13 going into yesterday. And most people would say that's way too high. I like their toughness. Love Scruggs as a guard who's just a junkyard dog. Fremantle's the same way. Nunji gives them a different look. And like I said, I don't know how many transfers have impacted their team as much as Jack Nunji. Imagine if Iowa had Nunji this year.
Yeah, I know. They need a big. And they're playing Robrowski big minutes. I'm really happy for Jack Nunji, though. He has gone through so much with his dad passing away, multiple ACL deals. I mean, much like Eric Curry, and I hope he's okay. We were watching the game before our game started last night at Northwestern. It's like, dude, if he gets hurt again, I would just be sick. But I do think Jack Nunji has certainly impacted that team, and he deserves to have a great year. I still am wait and see on Xavier. They've lost two at Villanova, but
yeah, you should.
But no, how crazy is it that you would be talking about Xavier before you're talking about Louisville?